Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, and this is my quest for England. And this is the quest so far, which was really the Sunday chat of old. Yes, I've had an epiphany with what I'm trying to do with the Bald Explorer videos on my daily exploration across this wonderful country. I'm looking for England. Now, when you say that, people immediately say, well, you don't have to look very far because it's here. You're already in England. And yes, that's very true. Of course, I am in England, but I'm trying to look for, I don't know what it is I'm looking for, but I feel that I want to search and promote Englishness and an England possibly from the past. You see, I'm interested in heritage, landscape and nature, and I'm trying to reflect what we've had and the great points from the past with what we have today. So it's not really a comparison to say this was good and this is bad, although there will be elements of that. So I woke up and I had this epiphany, and I've decided to sort of slant this, not to search for Britain, although there will be British values. I mean, it's going to be crossovers, I think, between the two, but to try and be proud and to try and promote England, because I feel that the Scots have been allowed to be proud of Scotland. The Welsh have been allowed to be proud of Wales, and I think we've shied away of being proud of England, and I think that's a mistake. We have a lot to be proud of, and I'm in search of all those great things, just really to remind us. And it is a personal quest. I know people seem to get a little bit upset and they're saying, oh, well, you can't define what England is. It's a personal quest. It's a quest for me, which I'm sharing with you. So this week, what have I been up to? And if you've missed the videos, they're all available, so you can go and check them out. I hope you do. We went up to Sutherland Farm, which is in Lewes. It's a Sussex Wildlife Trust area on the South Downs to the east of Lewes, up near Mount Caburn. And the lovely Julia and I took a walk on a windy, overcast day there, just to have a look and explore. And actually, the good news is that our friend of the show, and somebody who we've interviewed a few times now, Kim Murden, is going to lead one of the Bald Explorer walks over there and tell us a little bit about the herbs that might be found and some of the birds and wildlife, which would be fantastic. That, I think, is coming up in May. So that was really great. We have had a lot of stormy weather recently. We've had 2 storms, and I was experimenting recently about filming in adverse conditions to see what I could do, because having a daily video that I put up, I don't want to get into a rut where I'm unable to go out and film and have to stay within these 4 walls. So I did a bit of an experiment and went out filming in the rain. I did go down to the seafront. I was hoping to get buffeted by this storm Dennis purely as an experiment. But down here in Worthing, we haven't had that much of it. We're very, very lucky. We haven't had a lot of the floods that everybody else has, which is dreadful, and I'm, awful to hear that. But we're putting up with what we do have to put up with, and rain and drizzle and wind has been quite a bit. In my search for England, one of the things is we went into Badger Books. I love Badger Books. It's a fantastic second-hand bookshop. England, and I'm sure across the rest of the world, there are bookshops, of course, and second-hand bookshops, but second-hand bookshops are very much treasured, but they've gone out of fashion in this country, thanks to big conglomerates like Amazon and other online services. But to go into a second-hand bookshop and to peruse the shelves and look at books, I find that I can't go into one without coming out with a big stack of books, because they're just so alluring. However, we went into Badger Books because we were looking for one particular author, and that's Enid Blyton. Enid Blyton, of course, wrote those wonderful famous 5 stories and The Secret 7 and a whole host of other stories. And for many people, It's a bit of a nostalgic look back to an England that she was writing in a very stylised form that was part of many people's childhoods. Now, of course, as soon as you start talking about nostalgia, people, I think, get slightly misunderstood here, or misunderstand certainly my experiences with nostalgia. They seem to think that as soon as you start looking back, and particularly with Enid Blyton, say back in the 40s, they seem to think, oh, but what you want to do is turn back the clock and go to that time. And that's actually not true. You're looking at the good points of the past, obviously not the bad points, that you want to sort of cherry pick the nice bits and say, wouldn't it be good to still have some of those bits? But we've managed to conquer some of the bad things, like so many health issues that we've managed to conquer. We've got on top of a lot of poverty, and our laws are tightening up all the time to make life easier for everybody, of course. And so we want to take the best bits, but we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and just say, well, everything about that period was bad. And so part of my quest for England is to do just that, is to look and say, maybe in this very busy modern life, we've overlooked some of the qualities of the past that we've almost shut away and forgotten. And so that video was really much about looking at that. And of course, I'm just going to pick out sometimes random things that are just quintessentially English and hope that it resonates with people. We're not going to get everybody on our side, and you know, you can't please all the people all the time. It's the old adage. So that was interesting. Another thing that the English have, and I know other people do, and when I make these videos and say, oh, this is an English obsession, such as gardening, other people say, well, it's not just the English, you know. And of course, I'm not saying it's just the English, but the English do have that obsession. So I went to see Mr. Suggett, Richard Suggett from the Veg Grower podcast, and he does this weekly podcast and makes videos, or vlogs as he likes to call them, on his allotment, talking about his challenges and what he's growing and all those sort of things. And I wanted to find out a little bit about the history and also the things that people grew and this obsession with gardening that we do have in England. So check that video out if you missed it. It's very interesting. Richard's a very knowledgeable path. And there was a break in the weather. Yes, my goodness, that was so fortunate. So I got out onto the Sussex footpaths again, and I just wanted to take one footpath which went to St Mary's Church in Sompting, beautiful church, which I will visit and explore in a different video altogether, and just look at the English slant of footpaths and how important, and a little bit of their history. And in my 10-minute videos, you can only whet people's appetites to look up and do more. I don't want to throw too many facts and figures and bore you with science and this, that and the other. It's more a visceral experience that you go along with me and explore. And hopefully you think, yeah, that's really interesting. And of course, as people do, because I often make mistakes, they'll look up and correct me or add something in the comments, and people do that, and it's fantastic. So the footpaths, I mean, we've had these footpaths riddling across our countryside for donkey's years, and we're very lucky in this country to have that. There are other countries that also have that, but there are other countries that don't. And we're so lucky that our heritage allows us, even when there are enclosed private property, that where the public footpaths go through, we can still have access to that. So that's really good. So that was this week, and that's what I've been getting up to. And this whole series will evolve. You know, you can't expect it to be straight from the perfection straight away. I mean, that's ridiculous. You know, everything evolves. So coming up this week on my search, or my quest for England, and I choose the word quest because it is one of those arduous, difficult things, isn't it? A quest. A quest isn't something that you just do very quickly, like looking for your keys that are in the kitchen drawer or something like that. A quest is a bit more arduous and long, and I think that my quest for England is going to take a fair old time to work out what it is, or what it is I'm actually looking for. But coming up, we're going to go, hopefully this week, we were supposed to do it last week or the week before, Storrington Museum, and find out about local living history and how important museums are. Again, it's not just a look back to the past and say, oh, that was the past, but I think there are things that you see in the past that are relevant today. And very kindly, one of our patrons, Mr. Jeff Kellison, thought it would be a wild idea if Richard and Julia went up in a hot air balloon to have a look at this wonderful countryside in Sussex, the carpet, the patchwork, the villages and all of that from the air. Now that's probably going to take place around May, June time, a little bit later on in the year, and of course we'll video it, and hopefully you can enjoy that. It will be great fun to see what it's like from the air. And of course I'm hoping as soon as we get out of this horrible rainy, wet, damp winter that I can fly my drone, my new drone, and get some equally interesting footage from the air. So the quest for England is going to go on. I hope you're going to join me in it, and don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I will catch up with you when I'm out and about in this wonderful land, bringing you my simple 10-minute videos with this basic quest. Till next time, thanks so much for watching. Bye bye.